Hello everyone, this is Ray Savage from Cambium Networks. Thanks for joining us for today's webinar on the important role of wireless backhaul in Wi-Fi networks. The presentation is being recorded and it will be available on the web. We will be sending you an email where you will be able to view the webinar on our Cambium Networks community. During the course of the presentation, we will be able to take your questions and comments, so please use the question and answer dialog box on the right-hand side of your screen. Well, our presenters today, we have two of them. We have Chetan Habale, who is the Global Product Manager for our cnPilot Wi-Fi solutions, and John Butler is here, who is the Global Product Manager for our ePMP solutions. So without any further ado, Chetan.
Thanks, Ray. Good morning, everyone, and good afternoon or good evening, depending on your time zone. So I'm very excited to once again introduce our cnPilot product in the context of how it interworks with all of Cambium's other products. We really titled this webinar as Mind the Gap because we're seeing two use cases with a lot of our Wi-Fi products. Some of our Wi-Fi products are being deployed with fiber backhaul, but in many cases we're seeing people supplement fiber with wireless backhaul and very often with ePMP based wireless backhaul. So we thought addressing both of these together and showing the value of complementing your network with wireless backhaul and how it helps would be something that would be of interest to a lot of people. Last August, we announced our cnPilot portfolio, and what Cambium now has with the announcement of the cnPilot is a complete end-to-end wireless system that can go the distance from 200 kilometers to down to 2-meter clients. All of our wireless products, our long-distance point-to-point products, our distribution access products, and our Wi-Fi portfolio are all going to be managed by one common management system, which is called cnMaestro. And cnMaestro is really designed to be a network lifecycle management. As we go through this webinar, we'll walk through the value ePMP brings to the Wi-Fi deployment, and we'll end with how cnMaestro ties both ePMP and Wi-Fi to deliver on the promise of end-to-end wireless. One of the things we've noticed as we talk to customers and as customers approach us for solutions is that the place where you want to deploy a Wi-Fi hotspot is not always the most convenient place to pull fiber or wired backhaul. And this is where we're seeing people bridge that gap between where the fiber termination is most optimal and where the Wi-Fi hotspot needs to be by using Cambium's ePMP or PMP 450 based backhaul solutions, and in some cases even PTP 650 point-to-point wireless backhaul as well. What this picture is attempting to show is that with a lot of our cnPilot Wi-Fi products, we support the ability to power one radio from another radio, so you can easily mount our radios with one power line running up the pole, and then manage all of them holistically through cnMaestro. In addition to substituting or fitting in wireless backhaul from ePMP or PMP 450, Cambium also will support wireless meshing. So on all of our Wi-Fi products in our March release, we'll support standard Wi-Fi meshing. So you'll be able to do a hub and spoke model where one you can install a wireless AP, our enterprise grade E400, for example, and then quickly be able to extend that outdoors through a single hop wireless mesh. So with the availability of wireless meshing, Cambium now gives you two different ways to quickly and easily deploy Wi-Fi hotspots. One is with the convenience of Wi-Fi meshing, and on the other hand, where you want long distance, reliable, much more spectrally efficient solutions, we offer the ePMP or our other products such as our PTP 650 and our PMP 450 products. So with that said, I'd like to hand over to John for talking about ePMP and how it fits how it brings value to a Wi-Fi deployment.
Okay. Thank you. So, as Chetan mentioned, ePMP is just one of the product lines that Cambium offers to provide wireless backhaul. All of them are capable of backhauling Wi-Fi access points, but ePMP is particularly good at doing that because it provides very reliable backhaul at an affordable price. So when you compare the cost of installing new wired or fiber backhauls to ePMP, oftentimes the cost of the ePMP backhaul is much less. And so we've actually seen quite a few people out there since we introduced ePMP using it for this very purpose. The key to having good Wi-Fi access is, first of all, a good Wi-Fi access point with management capabilities, as Chetan discussed, but also the backhaul is equally important because eventually all your traffic needs to get to the internet. The ePMP portfolio is a complete solution that allows you to deploy either point-to-point or point-to-multipoint configurations. We have a variety of radios and antenna options in both the 2.4 gigahertz and the 5 gigahertz band. We have a radio that we call the GPS synchronized AP, and it's available in either the full or the light version. The light version differs from the full in that it supports up to 10 subscriber modules, or so in this case 10 Wi-Fi access points to backhaul, whereas the full supports up to 120. So given that Wi-Fi access points often concentrate data from multiple subscribers, the light is really probably the best choice for putting up a network to backhaul Wi-Fi access points. And then we have a selection of what we call unsynchronized radios, and these are most often used as client devices in a point-to-multipoint network. And those we have either a connectorized version or one that's got an integrated patch antenna. We sell sector antennas, so if you're putting up a base station to do some of this backhaul from multiple access points, you'll oftentimes want to use these directional sector antennas to sectorize your base station, give it more capacity, and we offer options in both 90-degree beam width and 120-degree. And then finally, we have a product that we call the Force product. That is a combination of a radio with a high-gain dish antenna for a very cost-effective price. So if you have long-range connections you need to make and need high bandwidth, that's a good choice for doing your backhaul configuration. So some simple building blocks in the ePMP portfolio, but really what makes this thing work is the software that runs on it that makes it operate as a very high-performance backhaul system. So there are some competitive advantages when you look at the ePMP product versus other products in its class for this application. Some of the advantages we have come from the hardware perspective. The hardware we've designed to be very robust and reliable. And we've done that because even though this product is a low-cost product, we want to be proud to offer it to our customers and have it live up to Cambium's reputation for robust and reliable products. We also have, when you look at real deployments and real operation, we have higher transmit power and higher antenna gains than the competition, and so that allows us to have better and more reliable links that get you better throughput. But the real advantages for ePMP come when you take a look at how the product operates as a system. And the capabilities that ePMP has are unique in this product class. The main capabilities, and I'll talk about each one in turn, are GPS synchronization and frequency reuse. We have high scalability with consistent performance. We have a set of capabilities that we call eFortify, which is software algorithms that help us mitigate performance. And then we have, on top of that solid base of system, we have advanced quality of service and multicast capabilities that help you manage the traffic of your Wi-Fi network. And then finally, we have a set of tools that we collectively call eCommand that allow you to plan, provision, and monitor your system. Okay, fine. So as I mentioned, we have a few simple building blocks in the ePMP portfolio, but because of the flexibility of the software that we've implemented, you can use them in quite a variety of configurations. Any radio in the portfolio can be configured to be an access point, a subscriber module, or a point-to-point radio. And so you can use, for example, a pair of the Force products for a synchronized or unsynchronized link. You could have a pair of the integrated radios for an unsynchronized point-to-point link. And then you have various options for deploying point-to-multipoint configurations. You can use our GPS synchronized AP with a sector antenna for a very high-performance sectorized point-to-multipoint deployment. Or you could use the integrated unsynchronized radio for an unsynchronized point-to-multipoint deployment in areas where you don't need GPS synchronization and you want to minimize the cost of deployment. eFortify is a set of capabilities that we introduced in the ePMP product that allows us to operate better in high interference environments. So the GPS synchronization capability I talked about is a good way to deploy a complex network where you design it so that you don't interfere with yourself. But even if you've eliminated self-interference, there's oftentimes other users of the spectrum. So you need a product that will be able to work well, effectively in a high interference environment where the interference comes from external radios. And we've done some head-to-head testing against competitive products. What you see in the pictures here is the test setup that we utilize near our headquarters in Chicago, in the Chicago area. We put radios on local high-rise, and then we have several test drive vans where we go around and test the performance of the product. And so we've done head-to-head competition or testing against the competition, and the algorithms that we have built into the ePMP help us maintain throughput even as interference gets very high and potentially severe. This is a slide that builds, right? So if you could click through it here. I talked about the hardware reliability of the product, and the way we make a reliable hardware at Cambium is that we have this what we call a reliability recipe that we've been following for over 10 years and enhancing and tweaking it with feedback from the field. And even though the ePMP product is a low-cost product, we've applied that recipe to the design of that product line. And so the key ingredients of that recipe are that we design with margin, which means that we do not utilize the components we choose outside of their range of operation so we can ensure consistent performance. We only choose high-quality components. We build in ESD and surge protection on the radio so that it's robust and even in some rough electrical environments. We put it in a very robust outdoor enclosure. All of our enclosures are tested and certified to be IP55 or better. Then we do robust design verification, which includes reliability testing, where we stress the hardware in simulated harsh environments to find out what are the weak points of the design, and then we make them better. And then finally, we have a very robust and reliable design, and we use only high-quality manufacturers, and we constantly monitor what they manufacture to make sure that every product that comes out from Cambium is high quality and has consistent performance. So now that's the basics of ePMP as a portfolio. How do you use it for Wi-Fi backhaul? Now, as Chetan mentioned, oftentimes you'll want to put some Wi-Fi access in places where it's tough to get wired connections for the backhaul. What I got pictured here is a high-end shopping mall in Manila. And they wanted to, after the shopping mall was built, they decided they wanted to have outdoor Wi-Fi access. And so rather than rip up all of the concrete, the sidewalks that they'd put in, the way they backhauled it was using ePMP. So it's a natural fit for this type of application. One of the things that you need to consider when you're choosing wireless backhaul for your Wi-Fi access point. First, you need to understand what kind of bandwidth you need to support, and what number of access points need to be supported. And then you want to plan the right number of access points in order to backhaul them. We have the tools available to you to help you do that. We have two tools that we could recommend. One is a tool that's called the ePMP Capacity Planner, and this is a spreadsheet tool that's available at our website. You can download it, and you can configure the number of access points you want to use and subscriber modules and distances between them, and we'll give you a first order estimate of the kind of capacity that you'll get in your system. And then you can take that to another step and use a product that we have that's called Link Planner, where you can actually plot the access points, ePMP access points and your Wi-Fi access points on a map and simulate the throughput of the links between them. So this is something very important to do when you're planning to backhaul Wi-Fi access points. You also need to take a look at the distance and the RF path characteristics, and this is where the tools such as a Link Planner will help you do that. And then finally, since both the ePMP product and the Wi-Fi access points utilize what you would consider to be the Wi-Fi spectrum, namely 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz, you need to do some co-location considerations for wireless backhaul. That means that what you need to do is you need to make sure that your backhaul and your Wi-Fi access points aren't utilizing the same spectrum, or they may interfere with each other. So you need to choose the channels that you utilize for backhaul and for a Wi-Fi access point and bands. And then when you co-locate the ePMP radios and the Wi-Fi access points, using a combination of distance separation and frequency separation, you can manage the interference. So on that slide that I showed you before, which showed Wi-Fi or ePMP backhauling Wi-Fi access points, you'll notice that there was a pretty good distance separation between those two radios, and that's always a good thing to have to help minimize interference between the two devices. Okay. So what are the advantages that ePMP has for Wi-Fi backhaul? There are many, and I'll list them here and just talk to each one briefly. First is low power consumption. The ePMP radios consume only about 7 or 8 watts, and so they can be easily powered along with your Wi-Fi access points from a low-cost power supply. ePMP's got a very flexible architecture, as I mentioned. You can use any radio for any of the main functions, AP, FM, or point-to-point radio, and it's very easy installation. We also have a number of different operating modes. We have an operating mode that's great for frequency reuse and point-to-point, point-to-multipoint operation. That's our GPS sync mode. We have modes that are also optimized for point-to-point capabilities. And so you've got really just a variety of physical as well as operational modes that allow you to pick just the right mode of operation for your application. We have a high degree of scalability, as I talked about before, and by scalability I mean the ability of an access point to support many subscriber modules. So if you want to deploy or backhaul a lot of Wi-Fi access points wirelessly, ePMP gives you a great flexibility to handle as many as you need. We also have built into the product the capability that's in software that we call an air fairness scheduler. And this is a capability that allows us to maintain consistent performance even if there's a lot of demands from the access points for backhauling Wi-Fi. GPS sync, as I mentioned, allows you to do frequency reuse, and this is really important. You know, as I mentioned, that you need to be careful when you're backhauling Wi-Fi that you carefully choose the frequencies for your access points and your backhaul. And because ePMP supports GPS synchronization and you can do frequency reuse there, that means that you're not taking up a lot of the spectrum for the backhaul, and yet you still have high capacity, and you're leaving most of the spectrum available for access, which is really what you want to do. So as I mentioned before, this helps you with co-location. And then we have QoS capabilities that allows you to offer a mix of traffic. So if you're putting up a Wi-Fi network and maybe there's some very time-sensitive traffic you want to carry, or you want to offer the users of it a kind of a best effort type of service for free, and then they would pay if they wanted some higher throughputs, we've got the capabilities within the backhaul to help you do that. Okay, so now I'll turn it back over to Chetan, who'll talk about cnMaestro and how it ties everything together.
Thank you, John. So as John mentioned, ePMP's been out there in the field. It's been used not only with our Wi-Fi products, but also with Wi-Fi products from our competition. And it's proven itself as a reliable backhaul solution in the field. But one distinct advantage that we bring to our customers when you tie ePMP and Wi-Fi products from Cambium is that we're able to manage all of them together from one single screen, and that is through cnMaestro management. And what cnMaestro does is it gives you on one screen everything that you need for your complete network, so you can see all of your point-to-point, point-to-multipoint, and wireless LAN, and also the Wi-Fi clients connected to those wireless LAN devices. It gives you a map location where you can visually plot out the location of your equipment. You can organize your devices hierarchically, and of course it does everything that a good management system should do. Gives you stateful alarms, gives you the availability of the devices, whether the devices are up and down. And when it comes to alarms, we follow where we draw inspiration from some of the telco standard alarms. So we classify alarms as critical, major, and minor. And these alarms stick around and they don't disappear, so you can always look up what the alarm was and what the alarm condition was and whether the condition is persistent or cleared. But in addition to all of this, one distinct advantage that cnMaestro brings when you have ePMP and Wi-Fi from Cambium is that you're able to now see a complete end-to-end view of your system. So it gives you on one single screen all of the key performance indicators, whether something is has a good MCS modulation rate, how the latency is performing. So a very quick visual way to tell if you've got any performance issues, to tell whether is it on the backhaul, is it on the Wi-Fi device, or is there an issue with the client. This screen has got cut off a little, but what cnMaestro also does is it shows you all of the clients connected to the network, and it's not just a high-level troubleshooting tool, but it can also tell you, give you a much deeper level of analysis. So if you were to click on the network connectivity tab and the Wi-Fi analyzer tab, it will give you a spectrum read of how your spectrum is performing. It will also tell you, give you layer 2 level information that you can sniff to troubleshoot and debug any issues that you may have with your Wi-Fi network. So this is obviously we recognize this is a brief introduction, but what happened since the launch of our product is that we've been seeing many of our customers now deploy ePMP and Wi-Fi together. We've got some real-world examples that are coming in that we hope to share at another webinar. We've got deployments in Nepal, deployments in India, deployments in Croatia, and even a couple of deployments in the United States, where they're starting to recognize that it's much more reliable and gives you the right combination of reliability and flexibility when you supplement a wired backhaul or a fiber access network with ePMP, so that you can now deploy a Wi-Fi hotspot in a more optimal way for your clients. As we get more and more of the data, we'll generate some case studies, we'll generate new webinars and share this information with you. But in the meantime, we'll also post a lot of this information on our a lot of our social media and also on our forums. And Ray, if you want to add a few comments here.
Thanks, Chetan. Yeah, the community forum is a great place to get a lot of good information. It's a free system, and all you need to do is go to community.cambiumnetworks.com, and there you'll find information on CN Pilot, you'll find information on ePMP. There's also a lot of information on network planning using Link Planner, and there's an area in different languages so that you can communicate that way if that's easier for you. In addition to that, we have a knowledge base of Cambium certified information that has been approved by our support team and our technical trainers. And if there's something that you'd like to see us build, there's an area there where you can submit your development ideas, and we do review that each time we do a round of hardware or software development. And I think a number of folks have already seen their ideas come to life. In addition to that, we also have the real-world connectivity stories area. That's the Your Stories area, where you can take a look at what other network operators are doing. They're very good at sharing screenshots of the throughput that they're receiving, images of their network design, or if you have any questions, you can ask them directly. So we look forward to seeing your ideas and seeing you on the community or in a future webinar. Well, Chetan and John, we have no questions in the queue. So with that, I'll just remind everybody that you'll be getting an email probably later today. We'll be posting this recorded webinar to the community, and we do look forward to seeing you in future webinars. Thanks, everybody.